Good day, everyone. I am Mark, your fat friend,
And I'm James, your black friend,
and this is the Fat and Black Connection.
where we talk about anything and everything. Well, of course, as long as it's interesting to us.
Oh, absolutely. And for those of you that are enjoying us live right now on 2/22/22, we should have gone live at 2:22 this afternoon, but
No.
sorry. But for those of you that are enjoying us live right now, 2/22/22, you could be watching us on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Insta, Daily Motion, wherever you're watching us and enjoying us. Hopefully, we are live. This is an interactive broadcast, so please use those chat boxes. Send us your messages, thoughts, what we're talking about. If you want us to talk about something else, let us know what you're thinking, what you're feeling. Hope you're having a great day out there. James, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Doing real good, brother.
Yeah. So, as we've done as of late, I've got to start off the episode with a beer. So I've got
Oh,
a
yeah.
a pilsner here. This is by it's a German style lager, and this is by Pigeon Head Brewery.
Pigeon
Head.
head.
Yeah, I thought you would like that. So it's this is it is craft brewed and canned in Reno, Nevada.
Oh,
Yeah. So I have never had this before. I've never heard of Pigeon Head Brewery. So let's if we can give it a crack.
it's
All
a
right.
it's a hot one.
Mm. It is.
Yoda over here.
Mm. And we can hear the planes flying over James's house.
Yeah.
Love that. So like last week, I had the Yavol from Shush Boom on the air.
Right.
So this is a pilsner as well. So it's a little hoppy. But it is not so much like an IPA that you wouldn't like it. I think yeah, this is nice. It's very smooth. It's not as crisp, I would say, as the Yavol from Shush Boom. But it's very good. So
Huh?
I also picked this up at Costco in a 6-pack. So
Well, a 6-pack at Costco? What?
yeah, right. Yeah, you were thinking maybe a 24? No,
Yeah, that's.
no.
I didn't even know they had 6-packs at Costco.
Yeah. So
Seems too small.
So James, the world is crazy today, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later because there's a lot of breaking news hitting just this morning in all different realms, from entertainment to Europe geopolitical type things.
Yeah.
So, but more directly here at home and directly affecting the two of us, I want to talk about an upcoming podcast audio adventure that we are both a part of,
Yes, sir.
and that is called Murphy's Inc.
Murphy's Inc.
It's going to be a fun show, I think. I am executive producing this show, so I've been heavily involved in the behind the scenes and a little bit involved in creative, helping to craft some of the show. And I also get to do some voiceover work on this, so that's a lot of fun. James, you're involved. Talk about your involvement.
Oh yeah, no, it's this. I am happy to be a part of this cast. We have a great cast on this show. So including myself, Mark, and then some other friends and fam of the show. So I am excited for this one. I'll be involved. Mark is, like Mark said, he's involved. He's super involved, actually. So just trying to expand that fat and black audience, baby.
Absolutely.
We doing other things.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So since our last episode of Fat and Black, we've had a table read, which we had last Tuesday night. It was a table read for episodes 1 and 2. I think that was a lot of fun, getting to hear all of the different cast members and in their parts. And we just this week started recording the audio for episodes 1 and 2.
Nice.
So for those of you that don't know what a audio adventure is, um, think of a podcast like what we're doing right now, ultimately, but it being scripted. And we don't want to give much away, but obviously, as you can tell from the logo, we've got all the time in the world. Um, and there is a time component to this series. There are, like I said, I just don't want to go into it too much. It's going to
Right.
be a lot of fun.
I think almost a simpler way. It's like an old schooly. It's almost kind of old schooly radio show. I mean,
Yeah, to an extent, absolutely.
yeah. And
Before there were
I like those. Those are actually
before,
pretty interesting.
yeah, before there were mainstream movies and television,
Yeah.
you got to enjoy things with your ears by listening. And I'll give you the synopsis that is up on the Murphy's Inc. Facebook page. Murphy's Inc. is an upcoming audio comedy that follows an organization led by Murphy with his two agents, Michael and Daphne, as they and their ragtag team travel through time in order to steal precious artifacts. Along the way, they'll meet famous historical figures, weave through danger, and experience historical events shown only in dusty, faded textbooks. Intrigue, thrills, and betrayal follow as they jump deep into the past.
Yeah. So get on that join that Facebook page. I'm
Yeah,
sure some of our friends probably got invites, so make sure you go and like and follow the page, and you'll be getting updates and things like that. So definitely do that.
absolutely. It's going to be a fun one. We know a lot of the people. We've worked with a lot of the people, and there's some new people. And this truly is an international production.
Yeah.
We have the creator of this show is in Australia. One of our voice talents and our audio engineers are in England, and we have people all over the United States that are comprising this cast. So yeah, it is truly an international production, and it is going to be a lot of fun. We've started getting some theme music. We put a teaser trailer out there, so you can catch that on the Facebook page or over at Anchor .fm. It's up there as well, or is it Anchor.fm or Anchor.com? I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is .fm. But yeah, it's going to be a fun show, and I look forward to everyone out there hopefully getting to enjoy it with us. So, yeah, James, how you like this
Yep.
background?
Oh, what Hello Kitty hell threw up all over the background.
Yeah, so for those of you listening to this after the fact, which you can do by scanning that QR code up there, if you
Boom.
haven't already, that'll take you over to the podcast page where we have this uploaded generally within an hour or so of finishing this. So if you don't want to look at James, by all means, head over to the podcast page and subscribe and check it out there. But yeah, if you're listening right now, you don't see this background. It is like spring and a holiday baker combined and threw up all over the place. It's
I don't understand. There's flowers, there's a random piece of cake, there's a ice cream cone, there's hearts all over. It looks like a old school. You know what this is? This is a Trapper Keeper from the 80s right here. They opened it up and put it on the
yeah, I don't know. This
I mean,
background is painful.
and that's if you remember Trapper Keepers. That's
yeah. So the other spring option, how do you prefer this look, James? How about this?
oh dear God, no.
Yeah, that feels like a bad tattoo or something.
Yeah, that horrible tattoo.
Yeah,
Yikes.
doves all over the place, and yeah, no,
looks like a hippie's a hippie dream right there.
yeah. So,
no, I'm good.
anyways, I had to comment on that because it's painful.
That's a lot.
So James, I think I should let you set up the next segment.
Oh, are we going there right now? Yes, sir. So listen, right now we are not. Now, mind you, we're not being sponsored by this show. We are not being sponsored by the app that this show appears on. I enjoyed this show and I wanted to make sure we talked about it. So right now on Peacock, this show, Bel-Air, is a reimagining of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that was back on in the was that mid 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah, mid 90s, and went on for a great number of seasons. Great show, but that was a sitcom. This show, Bel-Air, takes that same concept and flips it and makes it more of a drama. And I don't know what the deal is. A lot of people have been hating on it, everything else. But that's, I think, one of the main reasons is because they're trying to compare this to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You can't do that. It's it's like the same kind of concept. Young man gets in trouble in Philly, flies out, he gets flown out to LA, and he's living with his aunt and uncle in Bel-Air. So this is a more they took it and they made Will definitely more street, more urban, but they basically rolled in a lot of things that are going on today with social media and all that kind of stuff. I thoroughly enjoy this show. We're gonna take a quick look at the cast too. So what they did here, on the top is the new cast, and on the bottom is the original characters. So you can see that, yeah, there's some differences. Absolutely, like Carlton is a very striking difference. Jeffrey is man, he might be becoming one of my favorite characters. You got that's Lisa down at the bottom. I didn't see that at first, but yeah, no, everybody. You almost have to check out the show. You almost have to check out the show. I've watched all 4 episodes that are up right now. It comes on there's new episodes every Tuesday. Or not Tuesday, I'm sorry, every Thursday. I apologize. But I've been blown away by the show already. So, I mean, Mark, you said you watched the first episode.
Yes.
What did you kind of think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I agree with you about Will being more street. I feel like in the original Fresh Prince, in the first couple of episodes, and even throughout, I think he held it. I just think this is more. I would say this is more gritty.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say that it's definitely more true to today, and it's not a sitcom.
No.
Will Smith as Will Smith in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air couldn't be this hard. You couldn't be dropping the N word constantly. You couldn't have all of this vulgarity that is in this series, because it was a sitcom.
Right.
This is not a sitcom. I do gotta say, I don't know. You're the black of this show. You're black, right? So, how do you feel about the just common use still today of the N word constantly throughout the show, in the music in the background, and even in locker room scenes and stuff like that?
I'm not super. I don't like it. I'm not really a huge fan of it. But I do know that it's kind of commonplace now. I mean,
is it still? I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not
like,
in the black community, but is it
well,
still
no,
really commonplace to just be throwing that around that much?
In some cases, it's still very much prevalent with dropping it all over the place. So, I mean, like that the scene in the locker room. That scene in the locker room I was like, bruh, like with the white kid doing it, I was just like, whoa, like. I mean, I understand I understand that, and I've bro, I've seen it. I've seen other races just drop it like it's nothing. It's like, bro, like, no. And like, it might be in your music, but it might be in the music that you're listening to and everything else. But like, it's one of those things where I mean, I don't think personally, I don't even think it's okay for black people to use it. But I do understand why we do use it. It's taking the pain and flipping it around and using it as a, taking it back basically. So, but honestly, like I have enjoyed this show so far.
Yeah. So
I
getting
like what
back,
they're doing with it and
so
everything else. So
So I would say I like some of the character choices that they've gone with. With looking at Hillary, for example, where rather than her just being a valley girl kind of, she's seems to be somewhat of a social media influencer,
right.
and so I think obviously playing into society today is good. You, uh, but I feel like the one character that I feel is coming across somewhat drastically different would be Uncle Phil. And I think part of
Mm.
that, well, so part of that is political, right? They're right away in episode one, he's running for the DA of, I assume, Los Angeles County or whatever,
Yeah.
and so there is that feeling of maybe my political aspirations are more important than my family. And I don't think I ever got that feeling from the original Uncle Phil. I always felt like family was first. Where I don't think I felt that in this. Or at least the way he came across to Will, for sure, or the way that he necessarily came across publicly.
Oh yeah, I mean first episode is definitely gives you that feel. The other episode, once you see like the other episodes and you see him, you see his interactions with his family and everything. You kind of that's you'll see more of the family man. The one character that there's actually a couple characters that for me have drastically changed. Uh, there's we'll start from the bottom up. We'll start from the bottom up. From the ones that I think haven't changed as much to the one that just changed dramatically. Jazzy. In the original, he was kind of a goofball, always getting thrown out of the house. This Jazz, love it. He's he's kind of a hustler, owns a record store, Uber driver, all this stuff. So I really like what they did with him. The second one, Jeffrey. Like, watch the other episodes. Jeffrey is a straight up G. Like,
Okay,
like
because I was going to say the impression that I got from the first episode is that Jeffrey is very similar, except it seems like he's more involved in the family outside of the house as well.
yeah. So I mean, just like watch the other episode. Jeffrey is a straight up G, and I like what they've done. I actually like the Jamaican the old Jeffrey sounded more English. This Jeffrey sounds definitely more Jamaican. The biggest Yeah, Jeffrey's a beast. Yeah, absolutely. Um, the one change that is the most dramatic to me is Carlton.
Before we talk about Carlton, I got to ask. So, in the opening, not the opening, but in the first episode, when Will first gets to the mansion and we meet, we start meeting everyone, right?
Right.
There's a moment where Jeffrey goes to grab his bags and Will says, something to the effect of "Calm down, Idris," which I assume is a reference to Idris Alba. What can you explain that to me? Because I don't think I understood what that might have meant.
Oh, I don't know. I think he was like because I mean, yeah, Jeffrey's kind of dark, so I mean, and he's trying to take his bags. And he's like, "Oh, wait, hey," because I mean, if you think about it, he's literally just got thrown on a plane from home, and
Mhm.
so this is like all he has right now. And so he's like, he basically he wants to make sure he keeps all his stuff close to him. I think that's one of the biggest things. He just he's very he's independent, but yet he got just thrown into this whole situation. So he
I guess
wants
I'm
to
just saying,
keep his
why the
stuff.
choice of Idris rather than
Ah,
Jeeves or
oh, I don't
anything?
know. I don't know. Maybe
Like,
because
are they taking a stab at Idris Alba for something?
no, they're not. There's no stab at Idris Elba, but I think I mean he kind of has an Idris Elba look to him. So I think that's probably why he's that's probably why he used that one.
All right. I don't know. Like there was just a couple of things throughout the episode where I was like, I don't think I get that reference. Maybe.
No, it's just like I think it's just like it's a little like like oh hey Idris, yeah, no, there was nothing meant by it. I think it was just a simple, just
So, and
line
in
choice.
regards to Carlton, I completely disagree with you that he's different. I feel
Oh,
like I feel like the character of Carlton is very similar to how Carlton was in the beginning of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Before him and Will become close, they're very much at odds. They're very distinctly different. And Carlton is, I wouldn't say he's the big man on campus, but he definitely is well respected and well liked amongst his peers. Um, and I think he's also a bit of a crass smart A, which he comes across as in this first episode. I think the character in this first episode, because that's all I've seen so far,
right.
is very much the same as Carlton from The Fresh Prince. The only difference is, again, it's a little bit more gritty. It's not as much comedy.
Right. I mean, I think it's like as far as everything goes, it just seems that he's like for me, he's the most changed character in my opinion.
And Tyrus is saying the buffoonery is gone in Carlton. You won't see him dancing to Tom Jones, and that might be very true. Except that didn't happen with Carlton in the original series till second, third season. Um, and and I guess the question is, can he do the Carlton dance? Welcome, Scott. Thanks for checking in. Because he very well may. I mean, maybe we're not going to see him dance to Tom Jones, but could we see him at some point dancing to somebody that would be unexpected? I'm just saying. While I would agree, I don't expect this version of Carlton to be full on comedic because that's not what this show is.
Right.
I do think we're going to see a relationship develop between Will and Carlton, just as we did in the original series.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. That it has to happen because I mean, you're basically if you're living together that you're bound to build a relationship. And trust me, like in the first few, it's hard goings for both of them. Like just trying to get everything going. But I am thoroughly I like what they did with this show. I like that Will Smith is an executive producer on the show. Because he's even come out and just said, this is stuff that we wanted to do. But because we were doing a sitcom, we couldn't. So, and actually I'm sure you noticed a lot of the stuff with the referring to the old theme song.
Oh yeah, I got in one little fight with my mom and she got scared. Or
Yeah,
got in
one
one little
little
fight and my
fight. My
mom.
mom got scared. She said, "You're moving with
Yeah.
your auntie and uncle Bel-Air." And then like when he's on the flight and he's like, "Yo, this is bad. Drinking champagne, drinking orange juice out of a champagne glass."
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was nice to see kind of all that kind of play out in the opening. So
Yeah, I will say the one thing from a plot standpoint that I didn't like was how quickly everything happened from the point of the brawl on the court, if you will. I
yeah,
feel like everything between there and then the moment where we took a breath and they're standing looking over LA from the mountainside. Between those 2 points, everything just happened way too fast. Like boom, you're out of jail, or I'm getting you out of lockup. We're getting in the car. We're going to the airport. You're going to see your uncle and aunt. Like, okay, I feel
yeah,
like
yeah. There was
with all the setup to that point, they could have played that out a little bit more. I feel like they moved too fast on that, and that they didn't set up this guy, this gangster, if you will, as enough of a threat to make me think he needs to get out of there now. Do you know what
Oh
I
no,
mean?
yeah, no, the definite. I think the whole when he's actually, when he's sitting in the jail cell and he's looking at him and he does the whole gun to the head thing, and I was like, yeah, no, I mean, he was definitely a bigger threat than he might have been coming off, but
But that's what I'm saying. Like up until then, there's no reference to this guy on the streets. Like when we saw the other guy on the streets, if there was a reference or early, I just feel like we spent 15, 20 minutes setting up for Will to have his moment of what's going to happen that sends him to the West Coast, um, for it to all just get really rushed. I
Oh,
feel like
you're saying from the point of that could have been drawn out a little bit more
I
instead
would
of
have almost liked to see them take the entire first episode, and then the end of the episode is him getting sent to Bel-Air. And in episode 2, we meet the family and everything. I feel like they could have spent more time establishing his presence in Philly and establishing him there as a character there, so that when he comes to California, it makes more sense why he is the way he is and who he is.
I you know what? I don't really agree with that. I think I mean, yes, I think they could have stretched it out a little bit longer with that portion, but I think what they did, the way they did it, uh yes, the car did have dice in the mirror as well. Um but um but I think the way that they did it, they established that he was very well liked in Philly. He was, he was a star basketball player. He was, girls were definitely digging him. He had a really good relationship with his mom. Uh, and even his friend Trey, you see that, and that, actually Trey is a character that I remember showed up in a season 2, 3, something like that, a couple times, just as a recurring character that was a friend of Will's from Philly.
Mhm.
So I do like the fact that they haven't changed any of the names. They kept everybody the same. The one thing my brother was talking about, they brought Lisa in super early, if you will.
Oh yeah.
They
Oh
brought
yeah.
her. We didn't see her until pretty much almost the last season, and that's when they were supposed to get married. But I liked the tension there too, because you know she used to date Carlton and stuff like that. So um but she's really feeling Will. So I do like that whole concept. I like the way, I just like the way they've built the show out. I like what they're doing with it, and I just hope to see it continue. So, I mean, everybody, if you just watch the first episode, you're not going to do it. Like, give it, give it give it a few episodes, and if you still don't like it, then that's fine. But also, you gotta kind of push the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air out, because that was more of a comedy. This is definitely a drama. It says it right there on the thing. It says drama. So
Yeah, try and take it for its own thing. Don't try to compare and contrast. I think that's a bad move.
yeah.
And Tyrus says, how fast everything moved was all his uncle's doing. Perhaps he broke some rules to get Will out of there. They touched that what Phil did to show the situation isn't over. It may come back to bite him on his campaign for DA. Yeah, and there was definitely some
Yeah.
foreshadowing of that in the first episode. And evidently, according to Brian, our damn checking in, if you don't like it, you're racist.
What?
Um, Coming from a white skinhead, I mean bald man. Um, so uh, again, for what it is, a drama that is taking the concepts, the premises of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
The pilot was fine. Like I said, there were some things I would have liked to seen more drawn out, but overall, I felt like it was a fine pilot for what it is. And uh, so I guess I'm not a racist. So cool, good on me. So moving on, I want to
Yeah.
talk about. There was a blog post today on Disney blogs, and they talked about a lot of their nighttime spectaculars are coming back. And so I want to, if you're okay with it, I'd like to briefly read from the Disney blog post. And of course, you can find this at disneyparks.disney.go.com. Slash blog slash 2022 slash 02 slash no, I'm not going to read the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to hit a couple of quick highlights here. On April 22nd, 22, so 2 months from today, the Main Street Electrical Parade and Disneyland Forever Fireworks Spectacular will return to Disneyland Park, and World of Color will return to Disney's California Adventure.
Yes. If you saw our video, you might see why the World of Color wasn't there, because that is a big
Was an
lake
empty
and a
lake.
very empty lake.
Additionally, Fantasmic is preparing for its return to Disneyland Park on May 28th.
Finally, my goodness, that has been away way too long.
However, upon its return to Disneyland Park, the Main Street Electrical Parade will be celebrating its 50th anniversary. And
Yeah, 50.
in honor of this milestone, the Disney Live Entertainment team will introduce exciting new elements to the Main Street Electrical Parade that will continue to evolve this beloved spectacular.
This is what I was talking about when we were talking about the Main Street Electric Parade many episodes ago, adding some new stuff to it. And it looks like they are doing that right now.
Yeah, so right now up on the screen we've got an image from the Disney blog page that shows a series of floats, if you will, that will be potentially added to. These are artist concepts only, so keep that in mind. But we may see these items added to the Main Street Electrical Parade. James, what do we see here? Use your docile tones to explain to the audience that's just listening right now in podcast format what we're looking at.
Oh, yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we were looking at a beautiful concept drawing of what could be floats. Well, actually, I'm going to go from on my screen. I'm going to go from right to left. So, if if you're hearing this, you won't be seeing it. But um, the first float looks like a small world concept, just kind of a tower scape. And it looks like there's like fireworks coming off of it, which is really nice. Beautiful lighting. Beautiful, just kind of looks like concepts of features from around the world. As well as, like I said, it's a small world. So I like what they did with this. I hope to see this again. It's more of a towering float, which looks very beautiful on this. The next up gives us kind of a cityscape of Agrabah with a lamp on that float. They're kind of mixing two generations almost. They have the character. Maribel and her cousin, I can't remember his name, from Encanto, as well as Aladdin and Jasmine on the magic carpet on that float. The characters very much look like the ones that they have in It's a Small World. So, well, no, I mean, ish, I would say. A Small World-ish. On the next float, I believe that is Mowgli, along with Raya from Raya and the Last Dragon, and also the dragon. I can't remember the dragon's name from that film, of course. Looks like they kind of mixed the dragon spirit in with the lights, which is it's pretty beautiful on that. I believe, let me pull, actually, I can't see it fully on the screen. I'm going to pull it up on my phone real quick so I can.
So on the next float, we've got Elsa and Anna from, of course, the fame of Frozen.
Right.
As well as Pocahontas with some leaves blowing in the wind behind her. The one interesting thing that you haven't pointed out yet is because we do appear to have two sets of character types on these floats, what I am curious about, for example, going back to the Raya and Jungle Book float, we are only seeing one side of the float. And obviously, we're seeing Mowgli's back.
Right.
And so, what I wonder is if on the other side of the float, if we would be seeing a representation of the Jungle Book.
Oh, that's a very good point. I think these characters might actually end up. There's, for some reason, it looks like they would end up spinning too.
I don't know. I mean, these could be again, these are artist concepts, right? So
right,
they could be the actual costume characters, right? You know,
it could very well could be. I mean,
which would make a whole lot more sense because in the Main Street Electrical Parade, you have Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Donald,
right.
Alice in Wonderland. Like you have all of these characters, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, that are on the floats. So I would expect that we're going to actually see the character costume actors in these.
Yeah, I mean, very well. Like again, like we said, this is just a concept drawing, and you might notice on each of the floats, it's kind of a mixture of old and new. So like we said, there's Raya and Mowgli. There's Frozen and Pocahontas. You have
Mulan and
on the
Moana.
next float, yeah, Mulan and Moana. So that's on the next float. On one of the last on the the second to last, that is oh goodness, I can't even really see it, Mark. What's the
Tiana,
Yeah, you have was it Tiana and
Coco.
yeah, Coco, that's right. Well, those are probably the two closest in time frame of their releases. Those are very close. And then on the last float, you
Or the
have
first float, depending on
or
how
yeah,
normal
depending on
people
which
go
way.
left to right.
Well, depending on which way you go, yeah. It is Hercules with a lightning bolt, which is kind of interesting, but hey, it's Hercules. And then right behind him is Merida from Brave. And then you have on the back or the front, whichever way you're looking at it, is the Blue Fairy. And the Blue Fairy is not a new concept to the parade. The old Blue Fairy was kind of this large. It was almost like on its own, but it was like the live actress at the top as the Blue Fairy. So that's kind of what it looks like this could be. So
Yeah,
interested to see.
I think if it looks anything like this, I think these look beautiful. I think this is a really nice representation for these floats. I love adding to it, as we've talked about before. You had mentioned before them possibly removing some of the stuff, which I was vehemently against. I am all for adding. I am not for taking away. Um, so if that's what they're doing here and they're adding these to the show, I think that's great. Um, even if it's interspliced,
Yeah.
the blue fairy in front and then throw in the train and then bring in something, I think there's a lot of ways you could do it. But I
Not
hope,
so you're saying yeah, definitely keeping a lot of the old elements and kind of wrapping these new ones in. That yeah, I agree
yeah,
with that. Did
yeah,
they switch?
absolutely.
I don't remember. Did they keep the light bulbs or did they switch to LEDs?
They did switch to LEDs.
Okay.
Yeah. So Brian says while he was there, and he was there recently, that he saw that the rivers of America were under construction. So
Yes.
they were under construction when we were there as
We-
well. They
Yeah.
had that section in front drained. Um, and Tyrus is asking, do you think Captain Jack Sparrow will be in the return of World of Color, or did they cut him out? I know that there have been some issues with Johnny Depp, but those were with Universal, not with Disney. So I don't know. I would expect Jack Sparrow's not going anywhere, and from everything I've heard, there's going to be another Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and everything I've seen so far, it looks like he'll be back.
Another one.
So
Dear Lord.
yeah. So uh, this excites me. I am glad that we have a start date of when this will be happening. What I
Yeah.
would like to know is how long it's going to be going for,
Yeah.
because I want to see it. You know what I mean? Um, so that's what makes it the challenge. Is I want to see this thing,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I'll have the opportunity to. So
Well, yeah. I mean, definitely not going to be the same trying to watch a video of it. That's one of those things you have to see live.
yeah, of course,
Yeah,
it's just not the same.
yeah,
Um, so James, we're gonna move into a large segment here, and that's where recently released by Disney, keeping in line with Disney, uh, they announced that in essence they're getting into the home building business, and I'm excited about this. So this is Story Living by Disney. New home communities where your next chapter flourishes. Imagine your life set in a place where world famous Disney service is at the heart of it all. So for those of you watching live, you'll
Mhm.
notice in the background I've got the website up, um, And I just kind of want to walk through this website, look at it together, and kind of talk about what we're seeing, because this is huge. You've got a lot of big home builders, community builders out there: Toll Brother, Lennar, DR Horton. Um, Disney getting into this game is huge. And for those of you that don't know, Disney has built some home communities in the past. It's just when they did it in the past, it was all in Florida on Disney-owned land where they
Yeah.
already could do it. Uh,
maybe
so
that was just a test run then.
yeah, I think it was. So
Yeah.
the next section, it's time to write the best chapter in the story of your life. Bring everything you've come to love and set the stage for even more. Be a part of a vibrant, inspiring community catering to the unique desires of those who have learned what's really important. Welcome to a place where you can live your life to the fullest and truly take pride in every new chapter to come. Not a whole lot. Doesn't really tell me much about the community. Just nice words that sound pretty, but
Yeah.
and what's interesting is in this image we see a cactus. We see is that Cotton Top? And
Kind of does look like her grandfather a little bit.
is that your grandfather and you back in 30 years ago?
Man, no, we never bake. There was definitely no cake baking.
Oh, okay. And then we see some what appears to be an old white lesbian couple shopping. So well, I think
are they older? I mean, a lot of what this sounds like, it almost sounds like senior communities right now.
well, yeah, that's kind of what I'm gathering as well. So let's press on. Dream locales. Give the story of your life a brilliant new setting. A story living by Disney community is something special. We've begun with a setting in California's Greater Palm Springs and are exploring other location opportunities in the United States, in the places people dream of living in. Communities in these carefully selected locales will take inspiration from the authentic culture and heritage of each region, crafted with an eye on comfort and design. Welcome to a world where charming gathering spots foster new friendship, where enticing little surprises are happened upon at any given moment, when nature connects with curiosity. This is your chance to live in a place that forever inspires you to add wonderful new passages to your story.
Okay. Palm Springs is hot as hell.
Well, so one of the reasons that they're doing Palm Springs, just in case you didn't know, is Walt Disney actually lived in Palm Springs prior to and during the construction of Disneyland.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
So
Okay.
so
That makes sense.
that was his hood. So
Okay.
and here we see again a cactus. We see an Asian couple drinking wine, and
They look older.
we see what appears to be maybe a grandmother and granddaughter. And Scott calls out so appropriately that Disney could pay him to live in Palm Springs. Yeah, I have no interest in going back to California, but I certainly am not going to go live in a desert.
I live in a desert, and it's not all it's cracked up to be. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, Palm Springs, I've been there. And of course, I've been there during the summertime. Ugh. But I mean, I hear the rest of the seasons are very nice. So spring is really huge down there. And fall is apparently really beautiful. I'm not sure how winter is, but again, like that's one of those places that a lot of people leave during the summertime. So
Yeah, and Brian calls out that this reminds him of the ship from Wally. I get it. I get what he means there.
oh yeah.
So the next section, the Disney touch. Life inspired by world famous Disney placemaking. The Disney touch is at the heart of it all. The communities are envisioned as enriching enclaves, conceived with the simple notion of bringing people together, managed by Disney cast members who deliver world class service and, of course, fun. No one else could bring to life such a vibrant mix of experiences and activities that will inspire new passions. Welcome to a place featuring world-renowned service that puts you at the center of everything. Programming will require payment of dues and or fees and be subject to additional terms and conditions. So so here we see what appears to be maybe a restaurant with some shrimp in the foreground. We see a table with
Get the dog off the table, dear Lord.
yeah, we see a dog at a table with a community of people that this might be the most ethnically diverse table I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Um, and then of course we see a hidden Mickey with a fruit bowl.
What? Wow.
So,
Wow.
communities currently exploring locations in the US, our First Story Living by Disney community has been selected and planned with an eye on the rich culture that inspired Walt Disney himself. Rancho Mirage, California. Neighborhoods, including one designed especially for adults 55 plus,
Ah,
are surrounded by the spectacular creative oasis of the greater Palm Springs area. And Scott wants us to not hate on the dog.
I'm not hating on dogs. I love dogs. I'm just saying the dogs do not need to be everywhere. They don't need to be at the table. They don't need to be in the stores. Just that's a whole different concept. Okay, they continue, Mark. Sorry.
And Tyra said, if Mickey Mouse ain't delivering my mail, I'm not interested. That HOA will be murder.
Yeah, I mean, like when they said cast members, are they going to be living there? Are they going to have to? Is that coming? Are they coming to work? Like, are they driving into work? That would be. Ugh.
So the community that we've got is called Cotino,
Okay.
and welcome to a dynamic creative oasis set within the stunning landscape of Palm Springs, the ultimate destination for curious dreamers and doers seeking exploration, innovation, and inspiration. Again, any of the artwork, it's all artist, concepts.
Rendering,
So,
yeah.
but theoretically, this might be the entrance into the Cotino community. A living painting for centuries, humanity has been drawn to the sands, mountains, springs, and valleys of the Palm Desert. Really? Have they? Its unique climate, diverse flora and fauna, and boundless beauty have inspired generations of makers from original inhabitant kahula basket weavers and storytellers to contemporary artists and innovators, all for good reason. The many colors of this natural wonderland surprise first time visitors with vivid greens, liquid blues, and dynamic reds and yellows, bringing unexpected life to the ruddy cocoa tones that frame the landscape in grandeur. Could they be any more highfalutin? In-
Oh,
like,
I'm gonna use these big words.
like seriously, uh, don't get me wrong. I'm absolutely interested conceptually in living in a Disney community, but right
Yeah.
now, I feel like I need to have a silver spoon up my butt if I'm ever going to do it.
Well, and the thing too is like, I mean, well, like we said, this seems like an older community.
Well, I'm going to
At
stop
least
reading
to
from the
start.
page for a minute. So this is a master planned community. So for example, I live in a Toll Brothers master planned community, but it's actually 4 or 5 separate communities, if you will. So where I live, there were four or 5 floor plans. But then if you go across the street, there was another 3 or 4 floor plans. And then if you go over to another area, there's actually a gated community that's still a part of this larger Toll Brothers community, but it's gated and it's 55 and up. And so uh what we're seeing right now is this image of a lagoon with homes all around it and everything. And so this area is huge. I don't remember the total square footage that they said, but uh, the image that we're seeing right now shows the 24-acre Grand Oasis that will feature the clearest turquoise waters with crystal lagoons technology. So just this image of the lagoon is 24 acres. So imagine how large the area is around this central water feature, if you will.
Yeah.
So they've got square miles galore to build this place, and it's going to be a master planned community where it will be broken up into sections. There will be some homes that are on the lower range price wise and smaller square footage. There will be homes that are huge. There will be homes that are 2-story, 1-story, a senior community. So um yeah, this place is going to be really big. Tyrus says base model starts at the very low and affordable price of 2 million plus the price of solar. He might not be far off, honestly.
No, no.
So in the next section, we see a picture of Walt. But what we do see is this artist rendering of a community center, is what we're seeing here. And in a moment, we'll see another image that shows it from the outside. But just a place where people could go and, I guess, hang out and meet. Here, what we're seeing is an image of a downtown kind of centralized shopping area. Um,
That looks clean.
yeah, it'll have restaurants and boutiques and things of that nature. Um, Here's the description on the creative retreat. The Greater Palm Springs area has helped the famous unplug for decades, from US presidents to the most glamorous Hollywood stars. But key to our story of inspiration is the man himself, Walt Disney. Of all the destinations in the world, Walt chose Palm Springs as his favorite special retreat, as he referred to it as his laughing place. Though not many are aware of this source of his inspiration, those among us who fondly remember gathering by the TV to watch Walt conjure colorful dreams on Sunday nights certainly know the results. Thanks to a new generation of dreamers, this same land of inspiration can be yours, inspired by this legacy. Are some of the latest visitors to this wellspring, the Walt Disney Imagineers, whose magic infuses this one of a kind place, as well as the expert staff of DMB Development, a Scottsdale based developer specializing in unique communities in the Western U.S.
Yeah, that's great.
Brian says, you can hear air conditioners laughing every summer afternoon. Moving on in the page, we see this area that is just off of that central downtown district where there'll be shopping and restaurants, to down to the lagoon where there will be the feeling of beachfront kind of resort where you can hang out and evidently get some longboards or go out and kayak. Again, as was referenced before, there are additional costs for access to the beach, I guess. My understanding is that people that don't live in the community can come to the community for a day pass, um, again, for an additional fee. So, back to that community center. So this image is showing us what that community center looks like from the outside,
Is that
right there in the waterfront.
Is that the visitor center from Jurassic Park?
A little bit smaller. A little bit smaller. Tyrus is saying, if they designed the communities after areas in the parks, I would heavily consider Galaxy's Edge, but only if the police wore stormtrooper uniforms.
Stupid.
So yeah, I don't think there's much else on this yet. There is a place where you can go to sign up if you're interested in more information. I have signed up because while I may not be interested in Palm Springs, if they should look at other areas of the country, I could potentially absolutely be interested.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I think it's conceptually it's very interesting. I agree with Tyrus. I think these are going to be crazy expensive, especially in California.
Yeah.
I think if they were doing this same kind of build in Arizona, Texas, even in the Las Vegas market, the same home would be, 50 or 60% the cost. So,
Yeah, we'll see.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the one last thing that I wanted to talk about today is something that is really hitting hard this morning, specifically. as President Biden has come out and officially said that Russia has invaded the Ukraine.
Come on.
So now Russia's stance that they're going to try and say is that, well, these areas that are controlled by separatists, um, we recognize them as an independent state, and they have asked for us to come in to help defend themselves. So that is the pretext for what they're doing. Pretty much the rest of the world, well, maybe for the rest of the world, less China and North Korea, uh, look at this as an invasion,
Yeah.
which of course really concerns NATO. Uh, which, for those of you that don't know, that's pretty much all the countries in Europe plus the U.S. and I believe Canada and a couple others. Um, so ultimately, this is gonna start going off the rails really quickly here. We are likely going to see some type of skirmish, up to the point of potentially a proxy war, where
I mean, they've already, I mean, I don't know if you've seen any of the reports, but I mean, you're talking about like there's been shellings going on and things like that. I mean, like a kindergarten or like a school was hit um, while children were still in the building. Luckily, they weren't in that section of the building at the time, but um, come on, man. I understand that if you recognize them as a free state, but I mean, it's just like this is. I don't
well, and
know.
just over the weekend, Vladimir Putin, president of Russia, pretty much came out and said that he disagreed with giving the Ukraine their freedom from the USSR back in the 60s or whatever. And so to me, he kind of made it clear that, and has made it clear ever since 2014 when Russia took over Crimea,
Yeah.
that they believe that Ukraine should still be a part of Russia. And, um, they've got 150,000 troops lined up on the border of the Ukraine. The, from all of the analysis I've seen, they believe that those troops are going to head straight to Kiev, uh, which
Which is
that
the
might not
cap.
go so well because Kiev is a 3 million strong, well armed society that I don't expect that they're just going to roll over.
No, and the thing is too is like one of the biggest thing is like Ukraine is its own, like they have like a democracy. They duly elected a president. That's what I don't understand. Like how all of a sudden are you gonna like how are you just gonna be like, yeah, no, you're ours again? Like that's some old school like not I mean, I guess yeah, Nazi Germany did some of that kind of stuff. We're just kind of rolling into places and kind of taking over. But like this is come on, man. This is a lot ridiculousness. Like,
Yeah, so we will definitely see what happens here in the near future and how President Biden will respond. Um, Sanctions have already been started against Russia. Sounds like the oil pipeline is being shut down, which expect your gas prices to go up, folks. Don't be surprised if you see that you're paying $7, $8 a gallon here in the next couple weeks. Um, it's not going to be good times. So, um, yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say on this. I just wanted to bring
no,
it up
I think just
because
Putin's got to cool his jets, man. Cool your jets. This is
I think it's a little late for that at this
well
point.
now, yeah. I was just like, I just don't understand. Like, man, like, ugh.
One thing I did read that very much almost scared me to an extent was that we very well could expect to see in the next week Putin's version of shock and awe on the Ukraine. Which, for those of you that are old enough to remember, shock and awe was a phrase used against Iraq when President George W. Bush, decided to invade Iraq. And he used shock and awe. And I don't know if you remember, but there was a countdown timer that said, if you don't, turn over Saddam, then we're coming in. And once the countdown timer ended, pretty much within, I don't know, it was maybe 8, 12 hours, there was just massive explosions and bombings happening all over Iraq. And so they're saying that this could be that moment in the Ukraine. So
I hope not. I definitely hope not. This is ugh.
so James, any last minute thoughts or anything you want to talk about or share before we head out?
No, man, I'm just excited. Actually, I can say that I was looking for a new job. I received a call, and so that new job is now available. I'll get more into it once I get all the details and everything else. But yeah, that's exciting. I'm actually glad that this has finally come through. It's been a long process in this hiring process but yeah, I'm excited for a new change.
And will those changes affect our show in any way?
It should not change. It should not affect our show in any way.
Okay, that's all I care about personally. So.
I will. I will make sure. I will make sure I let them know that I am unavailable on Tuesdays.
All right. Well, I think with that, it's been real and it's been fun, but especially ending the way we did it is not real fun.
Yeah, yeah, that was tough. But hey, man, hey, just keep up. Keep your head up. Don't let this kind of stuff keep you down. And send some prayers out for cooler heads will prevail in this situation, and things will turn out okay.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we'll be back in a week.
All right, guys, have a good one.